Hey everyone, what's going on? A few days ago in the mainstream media, this picture right here was a major topic. It's of this high school in Wisconsin who last May took a picture at their prom, of them doing the Nazi salute. And just right away, think about it. Why is this all of the sudden being put in the mainstream media? It happened clear back in May. So why are they bringing this story up now? And the story was brought up late in the night when someone had the picture on Twitter on November 11th. November 11th was the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I that came to an end on 11/11 at 11 even, right? And this story is absolutely contrived and put in the mainstream media because it is coded by the numbers. And when I say that, it is coded by the system called gematria. And that is the practice of coding numbers into words and phrases. And every day, our mainstream media is coded with this system. And these people are using this system of ancient knowledge to rule over the masses. And they're giving us stupid stories like this about these kids doing a Nazi salute on the anniversary of World War I coming to an end. Think about Hitler and World War I. Let's look at some gematria really quick. I'll leave a link in the description. Well, let's just look at a few things within gematria and why it's important. If you run out the phrase World War, and this is just the alphabetic order. W is the 23rd letter, O the 15th, R the 18th, L the 12th, D the 4th, and so on. You add these up, you get 114. And look at it, World War, look at Holocaust. Holocaust equals 114. Pearl Harbor equals 114. We just had the 114th World Series, and the Boston Red Sox won that, and all summer, what I documented with the Boston Red Sox was that in 1918, they won the World Series 100 years ago. And when they won this World Series, in Game 1 of the World Series against the Cubs, that's when it got popular to stand during the national anthem at sporting events. And think about what's going on within the mainstream media in regards to standing during the national anthem in football, right? So the Boston Red Sox win. 114th World Series, World War equals 114, Holocaust 114, Pearl Harbor equals 114. Even think about guys like Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un, 114 in gematria. So, what are the odds? All of them equal 114 in the same cipher. If you're new and you're seeing all of these numbers, they're absolutely significant. There's just multiple forms of gematria. There's four main ones. I'm going to take this one out of here really quick. Let me go to it and take it out of there. There's four main ciphers. I like to use satanic gematria a lot because it just seems to be really relevant all the time. Even if you write out satanic gematria in satanic gematria, notice it equals 666. What are the odds of that? You write out what it's called and it equals 666. Most people in the world, put 666 with the number of the beast, right? The number of a man, right? If you have read the Bible, 666 is the number of the beast, but it's the number of a man, and so on, right? And think about the Bible and all the numbers. They specifically say Jesus got 153 fish. Like, why would they say that? It's because of gematria, It's because it's all coded this way. But, even things such as God. God equals 17, and notice it equals 10 in reverse, and 55 in reverse. And look what Satan equals. 10 in the frontwards way, 55 in the frontwards way. Absolutely coded. Heaven equals 55. Notice the word hell equals 17 in reverse. Remember what God equals? So, and a lot of it goes back to Jewish mysticism, which is Kabbalah, and within Kabbalah they have the the 10 sephirots, or however you pronounce it, that basically God reveals itself through. The 10 sephirots. That's why Marilyn Manson has a song called You Say God and I Say Satan. The number, you say God and I say Satan. It's a play on the word Satan, but the word Satan equals 10 and the word God equals 10, because Marilyn Manson understands this knowledge just like many other celebrities, such as Roseanne, and so on. So hopefully you get the gist of what gematria is if you're new. The reason that it's so important to this, for one, if you go to this high school's website, Baraboo High School, and you look and see when their prom was on May 5th, 5-5, which is interesting in regards to what I just showed you, Satan 55, God 55, but 5-5. If you go to the day this story came out on Twitter and whatnot, it's 190 days. And look what the word Nazi equals in satanic gematria. Nazi equals 190. And if you look at this picture, all of the mainstream media is saying that there's about 60 kids in this picture. And possibly I am wrong. I've counted it like 10 times, and every time I've got 61 kids. So you can count it for yourself, but I'm pretty sure there's 61 kids in this picture. 61. Not about 60. There are 61 people in this picture. And the reason that's so important is because in gematria, if you write out Nazi salute, that equals 61. If you write out photograph, that equals 61. If you write out photo, that equals 61. If you write out white power, that equals 61. If you write out Adolf Hitler, let's type it out for you. Adolf Hitler, that equals 61. What are the odds of that? 61 kids. You know, this came on a date numerology. It got popular in the mainstream media on 11 plus 12 plus 20 plus 18. You add them up. Well, I typed it wrong, but you add these numbers up, the date numerology, it of course equals 61. Adolf Hitler, 61. You know, Nazi Germany, that equals 61 in gematria. Heil Hitler equals 61. What are the odds? Nazi salute, Heil Hitler, white power, Adolf Hitler, they all equal 61 in gematria. And Heil Hitler also equals 56. Adolf Hitler equals 56 as well. You notice Adolf Hitler equals 56? 56. Adolf Hitler, he died at the age of 56, and he died in the month of April. The only month that equals 56 in gematria. What are the odds, you know? Also, in regards to Hitler, so Adolf Hitler equals 61, right? And we get this picture with, I'm pretty sure it's 61 kids. All of these things equal 61 in gematria. If you go and look up World War II, let's type it out really quick. World War II lasted for 6 months, or 6 years and 1 day. World War II. World War II lasted for 6 years and 1 day. A lot like a 61. Think about that in regards to Adolf Hitler, right? Adolf Hitler equals 61. Nazi salute equals 61. White power equals 61. Heil Hitler equals 61. Of course, then they had the gay kid come out and say, I didn't want to be in that picture, and it's so disrespectful and whatever. And his name's Jordan Blue. Honestly, all I can think about is how many dudes he's probably blown when he's in high school. But, you know, that's probably why they gave him that name, Jordan Blue. Who knows? Maybe there's more to it, you know, Jordan Blue. Well, that's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of him. And also, you know, just think about him. He's the gay kid. It's all about civil rights and whatnot. And, you know, think about the Nazis in regards to the KKK and also to Donald Trump, right? And, of course, Donald Trump equals the same as Ku Klux Klan. They both equal 138. KKK and Satanic Gematria equals 138. You know, Donald Trump wins the election on the anniversary of the Berlin Wall coming down. Just think about all that. He wins the election on the Berlin Wall coming down. Think about the Berlin Wall in regards to the Nazis. Donald Trump's the guy who wants to build the wall. The Berlin Wall was started being built on the date of 13/8, just like Donald Trump's name, just like Ku Klux Klan. And that kid Jordan Blue, his name in gematria is perfect for all of that. Jordan Blue, 60 and 102, and slavery equals 102. The Civil War began on the 102nd day of the year. Look at the super N-word. It also equals 60 and 102. Look at Donald Trump, 60, right? It's all interrelated, so Donald Trump also equals 48. It's like the word wall. So the wall equals 60. He wins the election on the anniversary of the Berlin Wall coming down. It's all coded back to Donald Trump. So the next day, then, we get another story about Nazis, right? We get a story of a man who flew Nazi and Confederate flags outside his home, and dozens of protesters showed up, and this was in Colorado. And of course, the word protesters equals 61, just like Nazi salute, Nazi Germany, Heil Hitler, Adolf Hitler, white power. This is after these 61 students get taken, the picture gets viral on a date numerology of 61. What are the odds of that, Every single day the mainstream media is this way. So I don't see why, when I tell people about this in real life and I show people this, I just don't get why people can't understand that. It's just so obvious, It's just ridiculous. The reason that people don't understand this knowledge is because they don't apply this knowledge for themselves. Because if they would sit down and apply this knowledge, they would see it for themselves. It's not that hard, but people just get overwhelmed and they don't apply it for themselves. So if you're someone who is skeptical and new, just literally go to some mainstream media articles and take out some keywords, and apply it. The stories about Nazis, Nazi salute, even, so it's not that hard to do. I just don't get why people dismiss it. But I know why. It's because they don't apply it for themselves. So, anyway, the reason that Colorado and this guy and his Nazi and Confederate flags is so important is because Colorado is the 38th state, and in gematria, Colorado equals 38 and also 83. And this supposedly happened on November 6th, the day of the election, right? And, of course, African American equals 116 and a bunch of other things. It's fitting for that narrative, but Colorado 38, it's the 38th state. The word election equals 38. The word Germany equals 38. If you write out election day, it equals 58. Nazi, if you write out Nazi, that equals 58. Remember, Trump won the 58th presidential election, and he won it when he was in the 58-story Trump Tower, just after he had the 58-year-old Steve Ray, and so on, right? All about 58. The word Freemasonry equals 58. Freemasons are people, think about our nation. Our nation founded by, Freemasons. George Washington, right? He was a 33rd degree Freemason. And that's important too, Look at George Washington. That equals 187 in gematria. And the Freemasons that have their, headquarters in Washington, D.C. with the 33-foot pillars outside, right? But anyway, ancient accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry. That also equals 187, and a lot of the information and whatnot, it comes from the 187 chapters of the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Old Testament and whatnot. 187, right? And then the Society of Jesus, which is basically the Freemasons within the Catholic Church, that also equals 187. Notice Adolf Hitler equals 187. And Mein Kampf came out on 18/7. Donald Trump had his national convention in Cleveland before he became the president on 18/7, and it was 187 days before he became the president. You know, so it's absolutely synced up. These people, they understand this knowledge. They're using it to control the minds of the masses. Although, you know, this system does exist all around us. There's people who understand this knowledge and, you know, they have been using it to rule over us. They put stupid stories like this in the mainstream media right in front of our face, and most people don't even understand it. They think, oh man, you know, I can't believe them kids did the Nazi symbol, the Nazi sign. What is this world coming to? You know, well, the reason that they did that was because, whatever. I don't know why they did that, but they chose this story on a certain date and for a certain reason, you know. So they chose to put this in the mainstream media. If you really study this ancient knowledge, there's lots of other pieces, such as Hermeticism, where there's a belief that everything in this world creates a vibration, even letters and numbers and signs and symbolism. When they put this in front of you, they're, you know, they get enough people to believe in a certain thing and think about a certain thing, they can manipulate the way the world works. So, and you know, if you maybe if you studied history, you might say, well, that doesn't make sense. Adolf Hitler, he didn't like Freemasonry, and he tried to get rid of Freemasonry, right? But Adolf Hitler was just part of the show. He's just a puppet doing his thing. What they do is they create like two sides of things, and then they make you argue over it. That's why, you know, there's Democrats, and that's why there's Republicans. Because they create two sides, and you don't really have a choice outside of them two sides. You just, you know, they make you choose a side even if neither one of them is right. And that's how they control people. And Hitler, while I agree with a lot of the things that he was talking about, tell you the truth, I know that he was a controlled person, you know. He didn't like the Freemasons because he thought that there was, you know, a Jewish conspiracy, and they were just going along with this Jewish conspiracy. Well, you know, the Freemasons, a lot of their knowledge stems back to Kabbalah and the Tree of Life and, you know, whatever, sacred geometry and whatnot. So, it seems fitting, and it is, I believe that it is true, but they created two sides to create confusion, so you can't really argue the fact. And if you look up, you know, like I said, if you look up Mein Kampf, it came out on 18/7, and Adolf Hitler equals 187, just like all of these other things that are important. But also, if you look up Freemasonry in regards to Adolf Hitler, well, hold on. Before I go into that, Adolf Hitler was heavily influenced by the American Henry Ford, who was a Freemason. So just think about that. He was heavily influenced, or just at least influenced, by Henry Ford's book called, or not book, but whatever it's called, a pamphlet. It's called The International Jew. Henry Ford didn't like the Jews either, but Henry Ford, a well-known Freemason. And Henry Ford, we'll look up Henry Ford really quick. Henry Ford. He just so happened to die on the date of 4/7 in the year 47. Now, why is that significant? Henry Ford, a well-known Freemason. If you look up the Freemason square and compass here, right here, this compass right here is called the pole star, that in gematria equals 47, but right here this angle is 47 degrees, and it's a tribute to Euclid, who is the founder of geometry. Euclid and gematria equals 108, geometry equals 108, but it is a tribute to Euclid's 47th problem. So we got this 47 degree angle. It's based on Euclid's 47th problem about the foundation of a perfect square. The word foundation in gematria equals 47. The word president equals 47. The word White House equals 47. The word DC equals 47. Republican equals 47. Democrat equals 47. That's why we're told George Washington was on the Julian calendar was born on 2/11. 2/11, the 47th prime number. If you read out Ford Motor Company, it equals 211, right? The 47th prime number. And then Henry Ford dies on 4/7 of the year 47. And think about it. Adolf Hitler, influenced by Henry Ford, who was a Freemason, but then Adolf Hitler hates the Freemasons and so on, right? How does that make any sense? Just think about it, right? It's because they, they control both sides, and they want you to think, they want you to argue over things that don't matter, and that's exactly what goes on. But anyway, if you look up Freemasonry in regards to Hitler, you find out that originally there was the Enabling Act that was passed in Germany on March 23rd, 1933, and I don't know, it talks about 1/8/1934, the German Ministry of Interior, blah, blah, blah. And then later on August 8th, Hitler announced in the Nazi Party newspaper the final dissolution of all the Masonic lodges. Well, Enabling Act in Gematria equals 88, and then Hitler announces the final dissolution on 8/8 of all days. Think about it. Heil Hitler, H is the 8th letter, 88. That's the reason I even got into Gematria to begin with. Before I even knew of Zachary K. Hubbard, I knew there was something important to numbers, especially with like 9/11 happening on 9/11. And later I discovered that neo-Nazis get a tattoo of the number 88 on them, and I didn't know why, and I found out it's because H is the 8th letter, and it stood for Heil Hitler, and I thought, that's pretty weird. What is going on with numbers? There's something important with numbers, And I didn't fully get it. I decoded like my name, and I noticed some interesting things, and I didn't realize the mainstream media was doing this every single day this way. But basically, long story short, that's how I discovered this, and that's how I picked up on it so easily once I saw more to the picture of it, right? Because Heil Hitler, HH, 88. And then, look at this. Now he hates the Freemasons on August 8th. Enabling Act equals 88. And think about it. Heinrich Himmler, right? HH yet again. The International Jew in Gematria equals 88. Mein Kampf equals 88 in Gematria, also 47. Think about that in regards to Freemasonry yet again. If you look up Mein Kampf, it came out in Germany 8 years and 88 days before it came out in the United States. What are the odds? 8 years, 88 days. There's also a guy named, another Nazi leader who was Baldur von Sirach, whose name equals 88, and he died on 8/8. And the word Jewish equals 88. What are the odds? He doesn't like the Jews. Everything's about HH, Heil Hitler. The word Jewish equals 88. Also, if you look up that Baldur von Sirach guy, or however you pronounce his name, there's an interview that he gave after World War II, and he talked about how many of the young Germans, they looked up to Henry Ford after reading The International Jew, and they didn't, they looked up to him over Herbert Hoover, right? Think about it. Herbert Hoover, HH. What are the odds they even write that in there on Wikipedia, right? Herbert Hoover, once again, Herbert Hoover, the only president from Iowa, which is the 29th state, and he became president in the year 29, and then we had the stock market crash that happened on the 29th of October. It's many, many other things with Herbert Hoover and Iowa and how it's important to all of this stuff that's going on. Iowa equals 48. The word Freemason equals 48. Donald Trump, 48. Wall, 48. And so on. So, anyway, I think I made the point. What are the odds? What are the odds, right? I'm almost positive. I counted this so many times. I could be wrong, but even so, even if I'm wrong, what about all them other 61s, right? Pretty sure this is 61 kids. You know, Nazi salute equals 61. What are they? Adolf Hitler, 61. Heil Hitler, 61. World War II lasts for 6 years, 1 day. Come on now, you know. And then we get the story of on the anniversary of, you know, World War I coming to an end for 100 years. Just after the Boston Red Sox win the World Series. That was synced up to all that. Think about the number 88, too, that I just talked about. All of the kneeling during the national anthem is synced up to the number 88. Colin Kaepernick, 88. The word kneel equals 88. The Star Spangled Banner equals 88. Herbert Hoover was the guy who passed the Star Spangled Banner into Congress to be the official national anthem. That's why last year the Super Bowl was in U.S. Bank Stadium, because Herbert Hoover was the president during the stock market crash. U.S. Bank Stadium equals 88. Trump equals 88. It was the 88th anniversary of the stock market crash. You know, so. Another thing I always thought was funny in regards to Hitler's birthday being 4/20, right? The international time for smoking weed, right? And think about it. Marijuana equals 88. If you read out 420, it equals 88. California and Maryland, or, you know, the only two states that equal 88 in gematria, and marijuana was legalized in California 420 days after their vote, and California equals 88. Just, I don't know, I just always thought it was funny that 420 was Hitler's birthday. Hitler synced up to all these 88s, and then marijuana equals 88, you know, so. I'm sure there's more to that riddle. I need to just think about it more, but. Have a good one. Made my point. Learn to apply this for yourself, because every single day it happens. Our sports leagues are scripted with this system. So, have a good one. Peace.